listen to someone's story, whether it's a parent telling a child, someone telling a coworker, whatever it might be, and you go and tell them something negative about another person, and you really feed that story, and then that person won't go and ask the person that's being spoken
Right?
about. They're in denial now. They just became the flying monkey. When you only will believe one side of the story,
Yes.
that is not a good situation.
And I think it happens the worst in small conservative communities, to be honest. Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine Galloway, certified high performance coach, with another episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. I am so excited to have a returning guest. This is a new thing that we're doing when we have more of a story to tell and we want to go deeper on it. And today we're going to go on resilient love, and I can't think of a better example of that than have Victoria Sanchez back to share more of her story. If you remember, last year we were exclusively helping her launch her book that is dedicated to her healing process and the story of her son. Well, guess what? There's another book and the story continues, and she's here with us to share that today. Just for those who maybe weren't here last year, please go find that episode, by the way. It was excellent. Victoria, tell us a little bit about you and your story as we get into it.
Thank you. And thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure always. Well, my story really is about my son and my healing journey. And I had the most amazing son named Cody Sanchez, just a little superstar. He had a dream of being an Olympic shooter. I had the pleasure of being his homeschool mother and his coach for shooting. So we traveled that journey together and went on the road and took the country by storm. And his story got cut short. He was shot in the back of the head and killed in 2020 on May 16th on my anniversary. And yeah, it's been a journey since then, just trying to find my way. And I journal a lot, and that was my way of expression. That, and for some reason I used to get the video on my phone, and I would just record myself riding my ATV or just anything I was doing. I took a lot of screenshots, selfies, and there's a thing called dissociative identity disorder. And when your children die, you become disassociated with yourself sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Many mothers do that. As a matter of fact, I think most mothers have had that. And so I would take pictures, not knowing why, post them, and some of them I would keep, I wouldn't post. And I would go on lives, and I really didn't know what I was doing the first time I did it. But I'm so thankful that I did that and the journaling, because every time I had thoughts and I couldn't share that with someone, I captured it in my pictures and my videos and in my journaling. And then when I would be at home alone or in bed, and I would start having a memory of him, and for some reason I would look at my phone, and there was the pictures and there was the videos, and it was videos of me riding my ATV. And then I started putting them on TikTok, where I could add music to it and put little banners across with captions, and they became beautiful little videos, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I just knew I was trying to relate to myself, to him, and I always had something to look back at. And I think it benefited me more than anyone. At least I thought that. And then other mothers would reach out to me, and they would tell me, God, your videos are so inspiring. We just lost our child. How did you do that? And then it just kept going and evolving. And now, there's people all over the world that see those. And then my journals, I wanted to write a big book. I always wanted to write a book. And turned out that I wrote it. and published it on his 4th anniversary of his shooting. And so that was really, really powerful and impactful for me. And then there's modalities in there that helped me, and I hope that helps others.
Yeah, and I remember you were kind enough to share a couple of them last time as well and go into detail. And that's what we're about is helping moms. And we've had grief come up quite a few times in here, and it's been different. Everyone's way of grieving or dealing with loss has been unique to them. And we really like to help mothers and in general to embrace that, because it's not going to look the same for everyone. And being separated from a child or the loss of a child is so deep. It's a part of us down to our cells, and our children are still with us. Even if we've had a miscarriage, their cells are still in our body, let alone a child who we've raised and been a part of their life, and they've been central to who we were. I can understand that, there's this new identity now, because you're still Cody's mom, but you're Cody's mom here while he's somewhere else. So there's still a connection, but it's different. When did you start reaching for the healing process? Did it start with journaling? When did you start reaching for the other modalities as you were going through this process? Were they brought to you? Did you seek them out?
Yeah, that's a great question. The year before Cody was shot and killed, I had my own death experience. So I was trying to create a new identity with what I came back with when I went to the other side. So thank God I had already kind of been on a journey of healing and breath work, and it was to heal my mouth that I had surgery on, in my nose, and try to balance my brain, because I had such brain trauma from my surgeries and the episode I went through. So that was me forming a new identity back then. And I was tapping into that. And thank God I did, because if I hadn't have had that year leeway there, and the fact that I was told when I died that my son would be shot and killed in a year,
Oh, wow.
that I don't think I would have been as balanced or able to have something to grab onto, because I had already started training in certain modalities. So when he did die, that was a shock. And yes, it's a new identity, complete new identity. But I held on to that journaling, and I held on to doing my breath work that I had went to an ashram and learned. And so I was really into the yoga and the qigong and the tai chi, and that balances the left and right brain hemispheres and the mind-body connection. So had I not had that, I don't think I would have been as able to step into this new realm of now I don't have my son.
That's so interesting that you got a taste of what his journey was by seeing the other side. Did you find comfort in that you kind of knew maybe a little bit of that process for him and could feel maybe his spirit through that?
Yeah, I think I had the death experience because he was going to die. And I know now exactly where he went. I went on that journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very comforted knowing where he's going, where he ended up. Yeah.
It's interesting that you had this near-death experience and you were told. I have an aunt, I may have mentioned it last time, that was murdered when I was 6 months old. And she is actually in a book called Becoming. And she knew 5 years before that she was going to die and asked for more time because she wanted to be on the earth and get married and have kids. And that actually never happened for her. But those 5 years that she knew about, she really made the most of them while she was here. She just had she's almost left this legacy in our family of faith in God and brought some of my family into the church. Like these people that go through these tragedies, they seem to be very special people. And you talk about your son being special, like my aunt is special to my family now. And the two sides of that is we honor her, but on the other hand, we are dealing with a murderer that's in jail that we're trying to keep in jail every 7 years that should have gotten a life sentence who didn't. And so, can you talk about those two aspects of your story as well?
As far as me having to deal with Cody's death?
Well, how he was special in this life, and because you talked about that, and I don't think people that are taken from us early aren't special in some regard with the impact that they have while they're here. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that about your son.
Yeah. Yeah, I see now, I go back in my Akashic records. Some people call it reflection, different ways of looking at it, but he was truly special and he served his purpose in our family and on this planet. And because I had the death experience and saw what was going to happen, that year prepared me in a way, but it was also very frightening. It was scary to know that. And I deal with a lot of people who had death experience, and we come back with this innate wisdom, and our IQs are just like, it's like we picked up everybody, all of our ancestors, all of our family. We picked up all their knowledge and wisdom,
Wow.
and we can come back with it. And I shared that with Cody, and he, he would look at me and go, "Okay, mom." Okay. And I got to share with him what it was like. So I feel like when he died, I heard his cries when he died, and he was about probably 60 miles away from me. And I heard his cries, and I felt it in my soul. I knew.
Wow.
Their DNA is so part of us. And mom knows if their child is on the other side of the world and they get hurt or they're in a car accident or they're sick. A mom just knows that.
Yeah.
It's in our genetic makeup. It's in our blueprint. And so being able to share that with Cody, it in a way maybe prepared him a little bit to know what to look for.
Yeah.
What things would be like. Maybe he didn't understand it at the time, but I know when he did die that he got all that wisdom, and he knows mom went on this journey first and she paved a path. And I know he found that path. I know he did. And today I have my moments, but I don't break down and cry like I used to. Because I know, and I'm so grateful for the time I had here with him. And I appreciate everything, every moment we had together. But I know that he did everything that he was supposed to do while he was here. And now he gets to be in that heavenly realm that I got to experience, where you fly and there's nothing except for love and peace and joy and harmony, and you get life reviews, and you're like, you're guided, and you don't even know you're gone until they tell you, "Hey, it's time to go back." And you're like, "Wait, we'll go back where?" What are you talking about? I'm up here with my dad and my grandma and all my family, and where am I going? And they're like, "No, you have to go back to the other realm." And so I think that Cody's in such a special place right now. And he did live a very full life for his young 23 years. He traveled the country. He experienced horseback riding and growing his own food and building engines in his own truck and getting to do races and shooting and meeting diverse people all over the country. And it was just his calling. He had served his purpose. And to me, that warms my heart. And I know that I'm supposed to be here. I was sent back to carry on and create that legacy for him. It wasn't his job to do that. It's mine now.
Yeah.
And so I keep a smile on my heart and smile on my face. And I know that that's him coming through me. And so I don't have as many tears because he wasn't a crier when he was here. So I said, if you're living in me and I'm living for you, it's not for me to cry all the time.
Mm.
In our journey, we didn't cry a lot in life. So, and I know there's so many mothers that still, they cry and they hurt, and my heart bleeds for them. But in my journey right now, I'm really at peace, knowing he's at peace.
Yeah. Well, and tell us some of the ways that you're keeping the story alive besides coming on podcast. You're very busy in the things that you're doing. You have a new book, you travel, you're a part of some different organizations now. And like you said, you have other mothers reach out to you that have lost a child and are looking for guidance. Can you go into what you're doing, all the things you're doing, to take make it a message, to take your pain and give it purpose and to carry this legacy?
Yeah, thank you. I'm involved with some amazing women that are global, and they've created these groups online. One of them is called Grieving Mamas, and my friend Tanya Manley from Dallas, she lost her son CJ, and he was 30, and so she had spent a long time with him, had him when she was a teenager, so she was, best friends with him, and she developed this group called Grieving Mamas, and she has her own podcast, and she, I believe, has written a book or is in the process of it. And we get on there and we talk. Mamas get on there and share their stories. It's a safe place, and it's very healing. And there's been times when I first got on and heard all the stories, I mean, I was literally bawling, because you share in that pain with them.
Yeah.
Share and feel the pain. And so she's a great resource. And then there's another group that I'm in called Grief to Hope. And Hope Rieger has that. She's an author and she's a grief advocate. And she does 7-week courses. And we're in the fifth week today. She does them on Thursday nights. She'll take a break for, I think, maybe 6 weeks, and then she starts it up again. I talked to her about, we're going to have a meeting about me being on the board for that, so I can help other moms and share with them the neuroscience that I've learned and the quantum physics and the anatomy and the spirituality and different modalities. So I'm really grateful for that group. And then I'm also in Easy Way Network and TV and radio. Radio Boomers Live is part of that, and I've been a guest on their radio several times. Dr. Eric Zuley has that, and his dad James. And then they have Better Vision for Children. So I'll be going to their gala, and that's on March 2nd in Orange County, California. And so that's going to be beautiful. I was so blessed to go in June for the Father of the Year award. His dad won the Father of the Year award.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of celebrities that go, and I got to meet them, and they're so down to earth in this group. They're not arrogant, and what you see on TV, they're just a community of really, really wonderful people. So I really appreciate Eric bringing me into that. And other groups are like Pray Don't Panic. She just wrote a book. I co-authored with her, and that launched on the 14th of, was it January? I think, yeah, January. And that hit New York Times bestseller in a week.
Awesome. I love the title, Pray Don't Panic. I love that.
Yeah. And that's so important, right? If we
Mhm.
either pray or panic.
Yeah.
I've learned that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially as we are such deep feeling people when it comes to our children, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, and then I'm also going to be speaking on the 27th for domestic violence.
Hmm.
So I'm getting my speech ready for that, my talk ready for that. And I'll be sharing with them, the definition of abuse,
Mhm.
what to look for, what narcissism is.
Yeah.
I never knew what narcissism was.
Yeah. And then you're like, wait, what? I've experienced that. Wait, what? That checks another box. What?
It's
Yeah.
like scapegoating. Is that what they call that?
Is that what that is? Yeah. Especially for me, like growing up with it, that was normal. It took counselors to go, that's not normal. It took my own research to go, well, what is this? And the first time I really saw a video about narcissist parents and their motives and what they do, I finally had the clarity to step away from it and to separate myself from it because you get so entangled in their web of not having a voice, being invalidated with your own intuition, with your own like feelings, that you can just be lost and be seeking outside validation because that's all that you could get. It's not love. It's all their feed. And I'm glad that more information is out there for people. But I think it's careful not to misuse it either. So it's important to go inform yourself about it because there's even different kinds of narcissism. And so it takes different forms, but abuse is abuse and it does not need to be tolerated in any form that we have talked about on this podcast. And anyone out there that is experiencing some form of abuse, know that it may be hard to leave, but in the end, it's better. It will get better. You will find yourself, you will stand on firm ground again, and you will get your life back. It's possible, and you can do it.
And you have to create a new identity from that too.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that just sharing the different things that mean narcissism, like
Mm,
what is it to be gaslit?
yeah.
Well, we don't even realize that if I'm talking to you and you tell me, no, that is incorrect, that is not, well, you have now just gaslit me and give me your perception and your ideas on how things should be. And there's different levels of it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the
But
biggest thing I thought was interesting that you're talking about is you're never going to change their perspective.
never.
And so one of the only ways that you can deal with them is to go, well, maybe you see it that way. And then you have to revoice yourself, but I see it this way. Well, that might be true for you. You're not taking away their perspective and they may not see yours, but at least you're voicing it. So you're not giving them your full power. At least that was one technique that I came across. I'm sure you've got some others as well.
Yeah. The feeling, it's like if I tell you, you said this to me and this is how it made me feel.
Mm,
And then they tell you, no, you're wrong. They're telling you your feelings and your thoughts are wrong.
mhm.
And then they interject their thoughts and feelings, how you should think this way.
Yeah.
That is gaslighting.
Or how something happened. Oh, it didn't actually happen that way. Or I didn't mean for it to like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's a fine line because there is a conversation, a back and forth, and just being aware that, hey, I might have said something that offended you, but admit that to the person. I apologize for it. Can I hear how you felt about it? How what I said caused these feelings? And
Mm,
that is not the dialogue with
right.
narcissism. That
Yeah.
is not the dialogue.
So all the work that you've done with spirituality and aligning yourself is so important for these situations because
Yes.
you have to be able to come back to knowing what your truth is and what your voice is. So that can't be moved and can't be swayed. And once you're able to do that, you stop attracting the narcissists because they no longer have power over you. You're able to recognize those red flags and be strong in your own. And it's interesting because they don't always pick victims. Sometimes they pick someone really strong and they feed off of you and break you down. because you're a good person, you're a giving person, you're an empathetic person. And so don't think you're safe
Yeah.
because you've done the work. Some will still find the cracks in the work that you've done, and you have to be aware of these things. But I think another point that you made was how do you feel is so important. How do you feel? Not how they say you feel, not how someone else told you to feel, not any expectation put on you or what you've been told. How do you honestly feel? Because if you can't answer that, then you're just open for all sorts of abuse, frankly, because where's the line? Where's the boundary for you? You have to have that.
And the triangulation.
Mhm.
I grew up in this situation and I thought it was normal, just like you.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that if I'm talking to you and I'm sharing things with you, and then you go and share them with my friends, our family, children, your coworkers,
Yeah.
and it's all negative about me, then
Mhm.
you're not any longer on my side. You're not any longer part of me. You are triangulating people and manipulating people to dislike me. Maybe these people have never even met me,
Right?
met you,
Mhm.
but you meet them and all of a sudden they have,
An opinion.
yeah.
You don't even get a chance to have a first impression. They think they already know you. And I was listening to another podcast from an expert on narcissism, and I thought the way she put this was so powerful. Why would you give people the material to make bullets to shoot at you?
Mhm.
And that's what narcissists do. If they act like they're wanting to dig deep and get to know you, they aren't. They're looking for what could I use against you to manipulate. And it's the worst when it's your own family because they already know what your pain points are. And you have to, if you can't completely cut them out of your life, which sometimes you can't, you're co-parenting or you have their grandchildren and you don't want to stoop to their level, right? You have to find ways of creating really strong boundaries, reaffirming them. And sometimes it's hard to get there because they'll do everything in their power to keep some kind of control in your life, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual. They'll try to find some tie to you. But if you can sever all of them, then you're laying the groundwork. If you want to be a part of my life, it's for a day, or it's here, but you don't stay at my house, or these conversations we don't have in front of my kids, or calling them out on some things and just being like, if you want to be a part of my life, I'm sorry, but you have to do these things because you're an adult now, right? Like if you have narcissist parents and grandparents or different things, they want to treat you like a child. They want to get between you and your kids, and they want to be the source of parenting, the source of love. Like they want the feed, right? And if they're not getting it from you, they'll go straight through you to the next generation if they have to. And so being aware of those things has been really, really helpful and allowed there to still be a relationship, right? I mean, narcissists are high achievers. They may have learned it from the generation before. They don't always know what they're doing. That is hurtful. It's not conscious for them, or I don't think they would do it in some cases. And so it's interesting to choose to keep that relationship going or not. And only you can decide where that line is and what you can tolerate or not tolerate. But again, you got to know that truth and where that line is. Where is it too far? When is it too much? Do you need to renegotiate those things? And then have the right words, the right conversation, but in the right feeling as well. Because you can do that in love. You can still love them, but you don't get to allow them to hurt you.
Yeah. And when you learn the definition of narcissist, I studied with Dr. Romani. She's one of the top in
She's
in
the
the
best.
world.
I love her stuff. It's
Yeah,
so spot on. And she's like no nonsense about it too. Like
no nonsense.
she answers it. She doesn't beat around the bush. Like you understand when she talks about it.
I just did a 4-month course with her.
Wow.
So yeah, it's almost to end now. And yeah, she just very enlightening. And now that I know the language, the lingo, like the definition for what a situation is, there's a definition.
Yeah.
Then I could spot a narcissist from 50,000 foot view, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like all you have to do is start talking. you can either write something down. I'll go on Facebook and I'll be like, oh no, that's a narcissist right there. Stay away.
Run. I'm like, don't walk, run.
Run, run, get your broom, get your wings, get whatever, fly away.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But
Because it's
learning
not
the
worth
two,
it. It's not
yeah,
worth the scars. It's not worth the pain. It's not worth what they'll do to your kids or your family. It's none of it's worth it in the end.
we don't realize, because we don't have the terminology, we don't even realize what a flying monkey is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you will listen to someone's story, whether it's a parent telling a child, someone telling a coworker, whatever it might be, and you go and tell them something negative about another person, and you really feed that story, and then that person won't go and ask the person that's being spoken
Right.
about. They're in denial now. They just became the flying monkey. When you only will believe one side of the story,
Yes.
that is not a good situation.
And I think it happens the worst in small conservative communities, to be honest. I just left the most toxic community experience of my life. I finally got my kids out and we're in a new state. We're in a new town. And the first week I'm here with my kids, they're like, Mom, people are being nice to us. It broke my heart because it took me so long to get out of that town. But I'd been dumped there by a narcissist in a town where nobody knew me pregnant. So I was judged from the minute I was there and no one would ever let me get past it. And since it was close to his hometown, it made it so much worse because I would literally meet people and get weird looks that I didn't understand. And what we just talked about, it took me a while to understand what was going on. And so I just put my head down. I focused on my kids. I started this podcast. I got into personal development groups to survive it. Frankly, I had to find somewhere else to get the positive reinforcement that I needed so I could heal and so I could get out. And I'm so grateful that I did, because there are people that never get out. They like spend the rest of their lives not even getting to be themselves because of the damage that these narcissists do. They don't give them a chance to even show a new community who they really are. And then it affects the kids too. And I think that's the thing that makes me the most angry is people who have gossiped, who have said things that didn't check the facts, that didn't see both sides of the story, do not know, not only did that hurt me, but what it's done to some of my kids, not okay. Not okay at all. And if they knew, like I think sometimes they think, okay, I'm not supposed to judge. I'm supposed to forgive. So I can be love. I have to be love. I can't keep those negative things inside of me. But I do hope and pray that in the next life, they can see what they did so they can learn and they can realize the depth of the pain and the hurt that they caused. Because the experiences I've been through, as I'm sure you would say too, some of the stuff you've been through, you would never wish on anyone else. Mm-hmm. But some of these things are universal: grief, death, different things, being betrayed. And unfortunately, the narcissism is more common than ever. But it helps me have empathy. It helps me not judge. I will never gossip about somebody. I will check both sides of the story because I understand the consequences of not doing that. And that doesn't end with me. It's just like a lie. A lie gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When we say negative things about people instead of positive things, and we don't take the time to see the best in people, or to go deeper, like we're going deeper on your story right now. Someone may have seen you and just not known the whole story. And that's the point of us being here, is to go deeper, to understand our common humanity, and that we all want the same things. And mostly we have more in common than we do different. And if we could hold on to that instead and be firm to that, what a better world and society we would have.
Absolutely. I think that's where bullying and gang mentality come from too, is they'll listen to one person's story, like publicly, right? Mm-hmm. They'll listen to one person's story and just take it for fact. And maybe they're not even part of that family or close with them, but they're just like, let's run with this. And then they get their family involved. And pretty soon this one person is going, why does everybody hate me? I don't even know
what did I do.
Yeah. I don't even know these people. But then when it's in a family dynamic, then it's People
Oh, yeah.
should start checking a little bit more. It
Yeah.
shouldn't just be that one person in the family tells the story and then the other person in the family is just gung ho buying into it. And
Yeah.
then it's gang mentality on the other person and
Yeah.
they never checked. They
And
never,
some of the weird ways that happens too is like and it'll happen with people that have prominent roles, right? I mean, people that have money or doctors or business owners, or they have some reason to almost make this competition with their kids of like, who's the favorite? Who's going to get the inheritance? I mean, that's one dynamic that I've seen this in. And so it turns everybody against each other in some kind of sick competition with each other instead of being a family that's loving and together. No, it's like, oh, how did they screw up? How can I rub that in their face? And how did they screw up? And can I rub that in their face? And it's just, it's so hard to grow up with that. And because it's not love, it's not productive, it tears each other down. It just isn't love. That's not love. Pride is anytime we put someone above or below us. We are all equal in the eyes of God. You have gifts I don't have. I have gifts you don't have. I experience you don't have. You have experience and then there's things we have in common. But you are the only Victoria Sanchez of your experience in the universe. I'm the only Tiffany Lorraine. My children are the only. Cody is the one and only.
yeah.
And so we're all equal in that way. We all have something to contribute and we all matter. And if there's anything that narcissism is so infuriating to me is forgetting that you're my sister, you're my brother. We're here to uplift and help each other. I'm not in competition with you. I'm in competition with myself each and every day to be a little bit better. And I also have the right to stand up for myself when things aren't right. You have the right to step up. And there's better ways to do it than others, I will say. When I first discovered this stuff, and I was so angry that I didn't even know I had suppressed, right?
Yeah.
It didn't come out that great when I was trying to communicate and create these boundaries. It took time to refine that. And that's why the work that you've done and the training that you've done is important, because there's ways to do it that are effective. And there's ways to do it that just add, unfortunately, to the chaos. And that's the difference, is being able to get out of the chaos of it and have that perspective and that distance and know what to say to communicate what you actually want to communicate and not have it turned around and put back on you.
Well, and that's something that I learned too from Dr. Romney and a couple other doctors I work with on narcissists, is that when you're involved with narcissism for so long and you do lose your identity, then the only thing you have is to fight back.
Yeah.
So then the people that are in the family start believing the narcissist because now you're retaliating, you're fighting back, and it's not pretty.
No.
I mean, we get to a place where we are fighting back just like they fought with us. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
And we become then almost looking like the narcissist.
And what some people don't realize is we have not been given any other choice.
Right.
In order to get our voice back and in order to get the boundaries back, we had to do something.
Yeah.
Sometimes that seems harsh, that might seem unfair. And it's like, oh, but you have no idea what's been going on behind closed doors. You have no idea what brought this good, kind person to this point.
Exactly. and then it's called crazy making behavior. So narcissists beat you down, triangulate you, they make you a different person, and then we're the crazy ones.
Oh yeah.
We're the crazy ones.
It's just easier to dismiss them being involved in the toxicity, right?
Yeah.
Some things have come to light about my story, and it's been interesting to watch people who didn't realize what a hand they had in it and then try to avoid or justify their actions. Because it's like, you think you helped and you didn't help. Or you thought that was helpful and it wasn't. Or I told you it was. Or I asked for something and I was told it was too much. It was infuriating to constantly be in a loop of that. And I just thank God I have a relationship with God. Because even when people fell short, even when people were people, nobody's perfect. He always made up for it somehow. He always gave me funds. The right person showed up, or he comforted me, or he sent angels. I will never deny his part of my story. I can't. I would not be here today without that. And that's my comfort and my strength with the things that I go through. And I think we share that, especially with having an after-death experience.
Yeah.
It's so tangible for those that seek it. And once you have that relationship with God, you can't really deny it. And I never will. And I hope that finds some comfort for some out there, because yeah, they can corner you, they can take everything away from you, but not your relationship with God, not your faith, not your choice to love and be love. No one's ever going to take that away from you.
Yeah. Narcissists are called soulless people. We are soulful people.
Yeah.
And they break our souls. So they take what we had of love and light and kindness and break that down until we lose ourselves. But because we're soulful, we never lose the ability to reach God, to pray,
Right.
and
Yeah.
to know there's something inside of us. When you have God in you, there's something inside of you that will always be able to have a flicker of light. Come back this way. Don't lose yourself completely.
Yeah.
You might think it's all over, but you still are here, and I'm here with you.
Oh, so beautifully put.
Thank
That fits the book so well. The pray, don't panic.
you.
I don't know if you've experienced like moments of complete darkness where you felt something, some other force after you, but God comes in and he intervenes. And it just takes reaching out to him and that flicker of light that you were talking about.
Yeah. And the narcissists don't have that. I've learned about Machiavellianism. There's different levels of narcissism. There's the covert, there's the malignant, but then you get into the Machiavellianism, and that is pure demon. They have lost their soul. You should check into that. There's even a deeper level to it where you add sociopath to it, and it's just about power. And they're not in their right minds, and they have lost their host, I guess you could say, that has a soul, and they are so dark and so lost. They're into blame and shame and using and abusing, and they are literally destructive, like the Walking Dead.
Wow.
Just out for killing and maiming and destroying.
Yeah.
And it's very sad. And when families see this division start happening, it's wise to take a step back and maybe not buy into that. Maybe really see that maybe this other person that's being accused of everything, maybe their story has some validity to it. If you just listen. But if you jump in and you start acting like the narcissist and creating more division and creating that triangulation and separate everyone, usually the victim is the innocent one.
Yep.
They've been victimized.
Yeah. And that goes back to going deeper on the story, going deeper on the person. And I think love is a big part of that. If we look for the love somewhere in there, I mean, people that are narcissistic usually have some kind of childhood trauma. They have something that happened to them. And so it's not always like they're choosing it consciously. It can be very, very subconscious. And so it's kind of this thing where you got to be aware and know what you're able to tolerate. Because as a person of light, we want to do good.
Yeah.
And we can maybe repel that, but we can also sometimes attract that opposite too, because like you said, they want to feed off of our light. And so we have to be careful what we do with our light, but never lose it. I think that's the key, is just never to lose your light to anyone. Because if you're not full, how can you give? And there are, I think they've been called vampires before, like energy vampires and those kind of things. And be aware of how you felt. How did you feel? And if you're in something that like you don't even have time to slow down and feel, that's probably a sign right there. That's something, if you're confused, if you're not sure where you're at or where the relationship's at or what's going on or what was with that conversation, anything that's going to throw you off, you got to know your center and come back to it, because that's the only place you're going to find clarity with those kind of situations and those kind of people, and know what to do, and do it in a loving, godly way. I mean, you get to choose who's in your inner circle. You get to choose who influences your life and your children. And God will provide a way if you need to move or if you need to get out. He will always provide a way. And so there's no need to fear. And where love is, there is no fear. And I think you've shown that today, sharing about your son, the things that you're doing, the learning that you've shared with us today on narcissism. And like, you're always doing something to improve yourself. And I just really admire that. And I think that's the difference between people who get stuck and people who keep progressing and keep adding back to their light, because you're doing it and then you're sharing it. You're sharing it and you're giving back. And that's what goes around. And that's what's really meant to be reciprocal, is when we share these stories, when we share of ourselves, when we give of our light, then it can grow. And that light is not just a little light anymore. It's bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a blazing flame. And we want to make these kind of things contagious. The things that support moms, the things that support healthy relationships, the things that help the next generation be more resilient in a world that is ever changing and changing fast, and trends change. What is truth changes, all of that. But the things we're talking about today, these true principles, these things that you can hold on to, can get you through whatever you face. And then you'll bounce back more resiliently each time. And it's just fun to see your light increase and to see how you've been on your journey. So thank you for being here again today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. It was such a blessing.
So much love. So much love.
So much love.
Where can people find you if they want to learn more, or maybe they want to work with you?
Yeah, I have some free ebooks, and I've got blogs on my website. My podcasts are on there. My books are on there. I've got a store on there now. I got involved with Shopley, and they invited me in on the ground floor. So it's a global company. And if you want to learn how to launch products or be a pro influencer, just go to www.ridewithvictoria.com.
All right. Hey, everyone, let's get on that ride with her. Let's go. All right. Well, thank you again for being here, and just lots of love. And we'll surely have to have you back again. I want to hear the next chapter. So,
okay. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other, because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other, because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.